Today's show is sponsored by Expressvpn. One-click protection for all your devices. Securing yourself couldn't be easier. Visit expressvpn.com/funhaus. Welcome to the Funhaus podcast. Today is March 9th, 2021. I was like, actually, wait, what year is it? With me today, James, your, Funhaus guy.
Hi.
And Ricky and Elliot from Internet Today. Thank you for joining us for the podcast today.
Hello.
Glad to be back.
Yeah.
Been a while.
Yeah.
I was here
it has
like a
been
month
while.
ago, but it was fun. So I came back.
Some of us
Yeah.
must have missed the invites in the mail.
Oh, it was because
Well,
we were talking about
question.
The Bachelor,
How-
Elliot.
How,
Oh, yeah.
how
I don't wanna-
invested are you in The Bachelor? Okay.
Approximately
we-
0.
We might have a segment at the end. No, we don't. But
Okay.
we are here today to talk about, well, I don't even know what it is. So maybe that's why I was like, yeah,
great
I'll
intro.
have them on to
Yeah.
talk about it. But I want to know about NFTs. You guys did a video on it recently. I started watching some of it, and then I was like, fuck this. I know these guys. I'm going to get their opinion.
I feel,
Well,
I feel
first
like
off,
technically, it's
Ricky,
not
what
really
does
my
NFT
idea, but I-
stand for?
okay.
What is it?
I have to start this off because Elliot's gonna get. I feel like we're gonna do a good news, bad news thing here, and I'm way more, or at least I was more positive on the whole thing.
The word is bullish. You're bullish on it.
Yeah, bullish. So NFT is a non-fungible token.
It's a non-flushable turd.
Non-flushable turd. It's a non-fungible
Clog
token.
that toilet.
But basically, what it's all referring to now is that people are putting digital art online, and it is in the same way you would buy, a Mondo poster or a limited figurine from your local comic convention. They have scarcity in the fact that they are limited because the ownership is backed up on the blockchain. So if an artist makes a piece of digital art, they can sell it, and whoever buys it is proof to be that owner because it has a stamp on the blockchain that shows ownership and who has it, who's transferred hands, who's bought it, who's sold it. So in a sense, it is a limited edition art piece, but entirely online.
It's the difference between printing out a picture of the Mona Lisa on your home printer and then putting it on your wall and the actual Mona Lisa being somewhere in the Louvre. Right.
It's actually more
Sure.
like the difference between owning a telescope and looking up at your favorite star, and also owning a telescope and looking up at your favorite star, but having a printed out certificate that you bought off the TV that says you own the star.
Gotcha. That's
Okay.
fair.
Yeah,
That's
but
fair.
what it boils down to basically is that obviously Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, the Dogecoin, a billion altcoins are all the thing. Not just right now, but for the past couple of years, and there's value in owning it for various reasons. And this is yet another piece of internet currency that you can own that people think, hope, and so far has been shown to appreciate in value. So they see it as an alternate investment to the stock market or just putting your money in a savings account.
Right. So
and
the
that's
point in
appeal.
owning it is to sell it.
So that's the appeal of it, in the sense that, yeah, it is cool that you own a piece of art, and the art that is being produced in this space is very cool. A lot of it, some of it's obviously garbage and low effort, but
If you're into deviantart.com, you will love what these NFTs have got to offer.
it's a
Awesome.
lot of 3D sculpture and animation and stuff like that you wouldn't be able to replicate in a printed out normal thing, and I think that's what sells for the most. But yeah, it is. When it boils down to it, it's an investment for people. And if that investment wasn't there and there wasn't going to be a return in value or a potential, increase in value, then I obviously don't think it would be catching on as much as it is. But, people like to say that it is about the art. And for a lot of people, sure, it is. But the before we get into the negatives about it, the positive about all of this is that, for a long time, if artists sold a piece, then it was gone. They made their money. If someone sold that for 10 times as much a month later, then that person made the money. The artist made nothing. With NFTs, in a majority of the sites that offer them, artists retain a small percentage of the resale value. So every time that art trades hands, the artist gets a portion of that sale.
That's interesting.
A fun
And that's
criticism of that I've seen from from like the complete opposite side of the spectrum. It's just like, well, then that's not ownership, is it? It's not ownership if I have to share the money with the artist after I bought the damn thing.
I think Elliot
It's
right
like
here should
ownership
probably
and like royalties, right?
Elliot should preface what we just spoke about before this right now, meaning that no matter what stance you take on anything related to blockchain technology, there's going to be one person who disagrees with you or a million people that disagree with you. Basically, like everyone has a different opinion of literally every aspect of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. So Elliot, please explain to people, give them like the blanket, we're not responsible for anything we say because we're automatically wrong.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you talk about crypto, there's, I don't want to use the word cult, but there is a lot of people out there who are very emotionally and financially invested in cryptocurrency. And a lot of their reasons for it are good. The financial system in the world right now is bad and has been for a long time. So any option to circumvent it, there's good reasons for that. But yeah, I mean, like, we're not experts in crypto by any means.
Right.
Probably gonna say something
though.
wrong, and someone in the comments is gonna be like, objection. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is now this sort of mainstream thing, so I'm going to opine on it.
Interesting. I mean, it is weird because we did move into this digital sphere, and it happened pretty seamlessly where, you know, even things like movies and television, and we went from buying DVDs to essentially renting ownership of a digital file that we can stream from a very specific server under certain circumstances, but the price never changed. You know, like I have a Google Play library, but like I look at it going like every single day you could just be gone and there's nothing I could say or do about it. Like
that argument
like
was pointed out with Steam,
PlayStation, all those, any
Games.
like digital good that you own, you don't actually own.
Yeah, but this seems like it's designed to circumvent it, but it's also of the same, you know, it's like what you were saying earlier, jokingly, but it's also serious. Like all you have to, if someone wanted to pull the plug on that, what really do you have physically to substantiate or to trade with to show your ownership other than like an email receipt, you know, or something like that? Like I feel like in a lot of cases you get in trouble. I know someone who traded in like precious metals for a while, and they were like, oh yeah, I'm really into precious metals, and like I have all this gold and silver, and some of it they had physically, but most of it was like I own it and it's vaulted for me somewhere in who knows. They're like, and it's like they would describe that scenario, and then like 45 minutes later in the conversation, they would go on to say, so, you know, like if something happens and the financial system collapses and everyone loses all their money and the banks go under and everything like that, I still have my silver. And I was like, if that happens, ain't no one replying to your emails. Like you think the bombs drop, go off, Sarah Connor gets blown up at the park, and then everyone's trying to find food, and then someone's going to reply to your emails and say,
we got to get this guy.
You want to trade back in your silver? Like that shit's gone.
I love with the precious metals stuff, the idea that in a like post-apocalyptic scenario, anyone would have any use for gold or silver. Like the entire monetary system would be based on bartering if it's based on anything.
Yeah, and guess what? My JPEGs are going to be worth more than your fucking silver.
Yeah. It is interesting. This whole concept of stuff, not necessarily the crypto, but like the NFT stuff, came about because our production assistant Rick basically was we having a meeting.
Just gonna ask about this.
It's the same. I think it's the same thing, but like he basically brought up Top Shots, right? Like, which are you guys familiar? I assume you must be, right?
Yeah, it's
essentially all of this, but
NFT.
Basketball trading cards, but it's like a clip of like LeBron James doing a layup, and someone's like, I own this. This is my clip. Right? Like they got it from a Top Shot pack, and it's the new version of trading cards, but they are all encrypted or whatever the same way that these other assets are. So there's only one of them, but people are trading that. They're selling for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's like someone making like a fadeaway jumper, or something like that.
Yeah, but it's like there's no that
wild.
It doesn't actually have the value in the someone making a 3-point shot and having a video clip of it. It's the fact that it's the one that exists and someone wants to own that because it holds the value. It's
it's
like,
the same as, it's just a more advanced version of like sports trading cards, which are just pieces of paper that cost nothing to make, but they have value because people collect them.
Yeah.
It is, and it is interesting too. I think a lot about how I may have been like one of the last, not me specifically, but maybe our generation, is like one of the last who have lived in both. We're daywalkers, right? Like we've lived in the pre-internet age and the post-internet age, but there's essentially a whole generation that came after us that only know the internet age. And so for them, things like maybe their online persona is almost no different than who they perceive themselves to be in real life. And their digital goods are no more or less valuable than the physical goods that they actually own. Whereas I think maybe the millennials and what have you are like kind of the last generation that sees the difference there. And then if you go any older than us, they're like, I don't understand this at all.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, I'm sure, Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore, but I'm sure kids still play with Legos and action figures, I think. But like, that's all I had when I was a kid. And I do naturally find the idea of like microtransaction skins and stuff like that like kind of dumb. Like, sometimes it's like you do get to run around looking like Shrek or whatever in Fortnite, and
great choice, great pick.
Can have its own. That can be
like
fun.
Shrek in VR chat.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm an adult with like expendable income. Like, it's weird for a kid to presumably have to like ask their mom to like buy them a skin.
Yeah, but like the difference between, say, like I was into Spider-Man comics for a really long time, and so I bought some like pretty good condition old Amazing Spider-Man comics, and it, like, even though I had read them because they were reprinted 1,000 times and you could go online and read them, it was still like, oh, you have this I had this physical thing in a wrapper that has the stuff on it. And that was kind of how people have always treated trading cards, right? Like there's only one Jose Canseco pre-roids Canseco card or whatever, like whatever you want to call it. And there's someone who has it and you can look at an image of it, but like holding it in your hand was like, oh, that was a thing. I think that societally, and I think that generationally, a lot of people have moved past that feeling of like, I need to hold something physically in my hand, or I need to be physically in the presence of it to like truly appreciate it. Yeah.
And that's going to die out, a lot with just the way that things are produced now. And, it is 100% outside of the monetary value of someone placing a price on it on eBay and it's selling for that. So it is confirmed to hold that value. There's a lot, as you just explained, of emotional value attached to certain items. So like, for example, on my desk here, I bought it because I had it when I was a kid. I've been picking up Nintendo Power issues, and I like it because I owned these. I can look at a page and it reminds me that I read that page when I was a kid sitting on the toilet or something. But like, it's the same kind of thing. And it's like, I don't know if it's going to exist as much in the future, but I feel like because of the nostalgic factor and the way people get attached to certain aspects of collecting or assigning memories to physical objects, I think that there's always going to be like at least some sort of limited market. Like, they're still printing comic books, even though you can just get them digitally on an iPad. They're still printing baseball cards, even though, or basketball cards, even though Top Shot exists. So I think there's always going to be that physical aspect to it, because there is, I feel like, maybe I'm old, but more of an emotional and mental attachment to something you can hold in your hand that triggers more of an effect mentally than just looking at something on a screen.
An interesting thing about these old collectibles, though, like, old comic books and sports cards and stuff, is that a big part of why they're valuable is that when they were made, the idea, no one would have ever guessed that they would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, like, it's like the whole collector mentality didn't exist at the time when most of the most valuable collectibles today were first created. And I mean, I used to read a ton of Marvel comics when I was a kid, and it was heavily suggested through like Wizard magazine and just the entire culture that like you got to take care of these, got to maintain value. But like literally, not one comic book from my youth has any value more than the original price you paid for it, because everyone was saving it, and so there's just so much supply and not enough demand.
I don't know. I have a few that have like I remember at Comic-Con specifically, I knew I could find it there. I remember going to the local grocery store and buying Gambit #1 with like the gold foil cover.
Okay.
And obviously I lost it because I'm a kid. And then at Comic-Con, I went and bought it, and it cost me $50 to buy it at Comic-Con. So like that has the assigned value to it. Also, I have like the more recently, the New 52 Batman #1 with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. And it's like, yeah, in perfect condition, that's actually worth something. And that's recent. So it's, it just depends on what it is. It's like, I don't think Archie comics are going to be, raking it in, but
yeah.
One of my favorite stories, my brother bought when Venom #1 came out. He was like, "Oh yeah, Venom," because Venom was the coolest.
Yeah.
And so we each got one, but then he bought another one that he was like, "I'm just going to save this one because it's #1 and it'll be worth something." First of all, I have no idea what happened to that version. But then the other thing too is that you don't even realize as a kid is that there are so many variants of that comic that went out that it's like you're like, I have it and it's never been opened, and they're like, yeah, this is the one made with the ink that's like literally less than sewage in cost. Like if it's not the gold, like what you're saying, the gold leaf variant or whatever, like we do not give to, like you can buy it on Amazon right now. I wonder how much Lethal Protector #1 right now is on Amazon. Probably like $3 or something. But it's just great because also at the time it was like one of the best selling comics of all time, right? I think it still is within the top rankings of best selling comics, which means that how many printed versions of that book are out there? Just like countless. But that's what happens when you go into it with a collector's mentality from the inception.
That automatically, inherently makes it not collectible.
This episode of the Funhaus podcast is brought to you by Scout's Honor. As pet parents, working from home has given us more time to spend with our four-legged family members. We're now more aware of their daily needs, health issues, and well-being. So if you've noticed that your pet is itchy or smells less than pleasant, you have to check out Scout's Honor. Scout's Honor is my go-to pet brand for grooming products that help with itch relief, odor control, and overall healthier skin and coat. Benson is a very, very furry boy, and so it's very important to make sure that he has a nice coat, not just so he can get compliments, but so that way he can be comfortable too, and we don't want him to stink. That's for us. I don't think he notices. Scout's Honor probiotic grooming products are scientifically proven natural solution for treating your pet's skin problems. When it's applied to the skin, probiotics support healthy bacteria and fight against bad bacteria that causes irritation in your pets. They have a ton of amazing fragrances. All of them smell wonderful. Plus, with every purchase, Scout's Honor provides 1 day's worth of meals for a rescue animal in need. With Scout's Honor, your pet will never look, feel, or smell better. Check out all of Scout's Honor's award-winning products today, available online or wherever pet supplies are sold. But here's the best part. If you want to receive 20% off your order, go to scoutshonor.com/dude. Remember, that's Scouts with a K at scoutshonor.com/dude for 20% off your order. Scouts Honor, natural and preventative grooming solutions for pets.
This episode of the Funhaus podcast is brought to you by Expressvpn. How did you choose which internet service provider to use? The sad thing is, most of us have very little choice because ISPs operate like monopolies in the regions they serve. They then use this monopoly power to take advantage of customers. Data caps, streaming throttles, the list goes on. But worst of all, many ISPs log your internet activity and sell that data onto other big tech companies or advertisers. To prevent ISPs from seeing my internet activity, I protect all my devices with ExpressVPN. So what is ExpressVPN? It's a simple app for your computer or smartphone that encrypts all of your network data and tunnels it through a secure VPN server so that your ISP cannot see any of your activity. Just think about how much of your life is on the internet. Sadly, every site you visit, video you watch, or message you send gets tracked by ISPs or other tech giants who can then sell your information for profit. That's the reason I recommend ExpressVPN as the best way to hide your online activity from your ISP. You just download the app, tap one button on your device, and you're protected. And ExpressVPN does all of this without slowing your connection. That's why it's rated #1 VPN service by CNET and Wired. So stop handing over your personal data to ISPs and other tech giants who mine your activity and sell off your information. Protect yourself with a VPN I trust. Keep me private online. Visit expressvpn.com/dude. That's expressvpn.com/dude to get 3 months extra for free. Go to expressvpn.com/dude right now to learn more. Thank you, ExpressVPN, for sponsoring this episode.
Yeah.
But
Now, I never had comic books, but I had the NSYNC marionette dolls, and guess how much those are worth?
Probably a lot.
Nothing.
Oh.
wait, they made
shit.
marionettes like in the what is it? Bye
Bye
video?
bye. Yeah.
It's the
Marionettes.
Gonna Be Me video, and there's marionette dolls. I mean, like the set of 5 is worth like $110, but I think
that's
they were
not nothing.
already like
It's not bad.
almost
Yeah.
$20 to buy.
They
Oh.
retained
They were
their
like-
So
value.
then with inflation, yeah,
But
you
do they
definitely
have
are losing
value
out.
to you, Lindsay?
No, they're in a garage, like in a box in my
Okay,
parents'
so no.
garage.
Mhm.
So,
So no.
Mhm.
Okay. So
I also had the bobblehead dolls, also worth even less. So
I
it's
gotta
it's the
respect.
same as comic books, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I gotta respect Funko for figuring it out though, and creating a product that is no different than like bobbleheads that have been around for decades, but they
Mhm.
figured out a way to make them extremely collectible, despite most Funkos not really being that rare.
That's what I love. I love
They're not
Funkos
rare,
so
right?
much because they all have numbers on them.
Uh huh.
They all, no matter what they are, but it's one universal numbering system for
Mhm.
everything. So it's not like you could get, you're like, all right, I got number 77 and 78, and it's Spider-Man and Carnage. And then you're like, all right, what's number 79? And it's Daryl from The Walking Dead. And you're like, what the fuck? I like to have a complete collection of Funkos. It's just an insanity museum.
Yeah, no, I know a few people that have like huge Funko collections, and it's like you just knowing off the top of your head how much these things go for. You're like, okay, so you've spent at least $1,000 on this ship. Then you're like, well, so how much is this all worth? And they're like, oh, about like 3,000. I'm like, okay, well, fine, fine, I get it. But this is still very weird to me. But we do need to with the NFT thing. Like we haven't addressed it yet. The biggest problem I have with it is also a problem inherent in just all or almost all cryptocurrencies is the just absurd amount of energy that is used in the minting process for creating the Ethereum tokens behind most of these NFTs. It's absurd. It's
Mhm.
like
I understood like 3 of the words you just said, but keep going.
so yeah. A lot of this is really
You don't
hard to
have to-
understand
yeah.
if you don't already
It's okay.
have like a
Well-
background in it. But so like the way cryptocurrency,
I think I understand on the surface level, so I'm there.
the way crypto tokens are created is they're mined, is what they call it, and that's essentially computers. Depending on the coin, it's GPUs or specialized CPUs, and they're essentially solving math problems to like authenticate that coin as unique. And so when the way most of them work is when they started off, it was very easy, very low energy to create them, but by design, as more time progresses and as more tokens are minted, it becomes more energy intensive to create new coins. So Ethereum has been around long enough and Bitcoin has been around long enough that making a new coin is like really expensive and uses a lot of energy, but people still do it because, the value of the end product is still more than what they're putting into it. But like at least with cryptocurrency, I can't excuse it, but I can understand the thinking behind it. Or it's like, well, this is going to replace money someday, and Yeah, you laugh now, but wait until this is what we use for all transactions, and I'm a billionaire. With the NFTs, I just can't like morally support the that amount of energy usage.
The difference with the NFTs is that with a for the way I understand it, with a typical cryptocurrency, the whole thing is extremely inefficient. There has to be so many calculations to verify a transaction or anything that it's extremely inefficient. This has been a problem well before NFTs. It's a problem that drastically needs to be solved, but it's a problem that, however you want to say it, gets put on the back burner for a lot of people because people are making money.
Ethereum's, they're changing their proofing any day now. They've been saying that for like 3 years, and everybody brings that up every time you mention the energy stuff. Like,
with NFTs,
okay, but it hasn't yet.
With NFTs specifically, with a normal cryptocurrency, a coin is traded, whatever, a bazillion things fly off in a GPU somewhere. With NFTs, there's calculations for minting the product, bids on a product, transfer of ownership, sales on a product, every single step of the process. And you're talking about, in an open edition of a piece, getting 1,000 versions of that, and they're all getting verified multiple times. It's extremely energy inefficient. In the energy consumption that's being used by it is almost incomprehensible. I just looked up because Elliot started talking about this, is there was a recent drop where this guy did, essentially it was a bunch of angels hovering around a Bitcoin. That's the art. And that one, and it was an open edition, so anyone could buy it. It was $1,000, but you could only buy it within 5 minutes or something. So that one piece of art on that day used equivalent to a European resident's electricity consumption for 200 years.
Interesting.
Which is,
seems bad.
you can't even compartmentalize it in your brain how much energy is being used by one piece of digital artwork. But it's a problem. And a lot of people are willing to look the other way on that because it's something that you physically can't see. It's the same way that a lot of people in politics can very easily brush away climate change and be like, oh, well, whatever, even though yearly there's obviously, as we just saw with Texas, verifiable results of inaction. But this is even more it's even easier for people to kind of look the other way on. But it does exist. It is a problem. It's one that should be solved. But it's also, it's up to you to look away or, kind of be turned off by it. But it's real. And I told me and Elliot were talking, and it's I was, looking around at NFTs probably a month or a month and a half ago and kind of played around with it because we host, a tech show, and I was I want to try it out and see what it's like, and blah blah blah. So I bought a few pieces and ended up selling them. And once all these Medium posts started coming around, and I was reading into it, and I was like, yeah, this kind of fucked up. I donated to it an emissions offsetting company.
Oh yeah.
And in the notes I put, "Dear God, I'm sorry for buying NFTs," when I made a donation.
Yeah.
It's just it's almost comedic, tragically how we're this had to come along now of all times, when we're finally sort of getting a handle on CO2 emissions, and there's almost possibly a path forward to prevent the literal apocalypse, and they're hey, there's this new thing that just literally devours energy for almost no reason. And everyone another thing is right now there's so much hype around this that so many of the NFT pieces that are being minted in the past couple weeks will never even be purchased. If you click around long enough on any of these sites, there's shitty artwork. Some of it's okay, but a lot of it's just crap that someone minted just, hey, I heard this was easy money, and no one's fucking buying this shit. So it's completely pointless.
Yeah, it's you guys mentioned the positive, and there are definitely the positives of making sure that an artist is compensated for the work that they create, and then a certain amount of accountability seems to be tied to it, security and accountability. But yeah, it does suck because, and while I'm sure there's some amazing pieces of art, it feels like people always forget human nature. If you ever want to know what human nature is, you just scroll the early access section in Steam. And you just see the kind of stuff that like there's like just a game that's like, give me $1, or, and it's 99 cents. And then
this game
do
does
it
literally nothing. And then you do it.
Yeah, it's
and it
just
does
like
nothing.
stolen clip art that's thrown together, but the person got their $1 or whatever, it's like, that's what so much of that is. And in a perfect world, in a utopia, like this seems really nice, but a lot of times I think when people are so futurist and maybe technology focused, they forget about how we are all just like barely not cavemen. like we are barely like understanding how fire works, and almost all of us are just sitting quietly like thinking, oh, if things turn even the slightest bit to the right, I will be crushing the person next to me's skull with like the closest bone I can find. So like it is a shitty thing when there's like a good idea and a good intention, but then it's just completely kind of corrupted by the fact that human beings suck.
The knowledge of the extreme, energy waste that's tied to cryptocurrency and stuff like this is going to be weaponized by people who are actually polluting the planet through more traditional means. Like, you're going to call me out for, burning fossil fuels when you guys are buying a single piece of artwork that, used as much energy as flying around the earth 50 times. So it's like the arguments are like, it's about like, I feel like we're on the verge of this kind of boiling over into like a far more political thing than just banks regulating cryptocurrency. It's I don't know. It all started out as, hey, wouldn't it be cool to decentralize currency and really screw over the big banks and the governments of the world? And everyone's like, yeah. And that's going to get turned around on people, I feel like, pretty quickly. And with anything else, early adopters are always the ones that are going to, be free and clear with all their profits. And then everyone else is going to get screwed over.
Well, the biggest reason why cryptocurrency isn't currency is because people treat it as security and not as currency. And so like the price fluctuates like the same as the price would fluctuate in like an economy in Africa that's just had like a civil war where it's just completely unusable as money. But like the big finance firms in like New York City and like around the world are now trading cryptocurrencies as a security because they can. They can wield a lot of power with their sort of legal pump and dump shit, the same stuff they do on Wall Street. And I mean, as long as that happens, it's not going to be viable as currency. And another point about the energy thing, like a lot of fucking fossil fuel energy companies are now setting up their own mining like stations, because they're just like, well, we already make the energy, so. And this is all very energy intensive, so cut out the middleman. Let's get in on this. And then you got like Tesla just dropped a bunch of money into, I think Bitcoin. So like now every share of Tesla is tied, like it's like 20% or something of every Tesla share is tied to the share price of or the coin price of Bitcoin. So I mean it's looking less and less decentralized and like to me,
the wolves are already in the hen house. Is right, like that. I guess that's the saying. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I think there's a certain element of it too, and I'm not trying to get any crypto people to come after me either. But this is something that I always think about with esports, where it's like esports are taking off, and I'm like, esports are great, but I don't think it's ever going to be the kind of thing that like runs the same way football or basketball runs, as long as you're doing a spotlight on one of the athletes participating and their name is like hyper shot, badunkadunk, like Can we just lose that? So like, and people were really excited about Dogecoin a little while ago, but I'm like, it's literally a joke. Like it's.
But it's even the joke has value. Like that's the thing is you have people like Elon Musk buying it for 0.4 cents or whatever, and then being like, "Hey, Doge to the moon," and then he just doubled his fucking wealth.
I know. But it's just such a funny thing that like we're at that point where someone's joke can be monetized in such a chaotic way. It's wild to me.
Yeah, I mean the whole. I feel like we're living in all the bad parts of like a futuristic dystopian movie. Like the movie, of course, is dystopian, but we're only getting all the bad shit and not like the time travel and flying cars and like any of the fun stuff that 3D. Would be. Yeah. It's just the extreme income inequality, the massive CO2 emissions based on like cyberpunk digital frames filled with fucking moving artwork. It's people on the streets dying.
Do you ever think about in Back to the Future Part 2 how that Jaws hologram comes out and almost bites him, and that's the way they promote the movie? But if you lived in that world, like you were not a visitor from a different place in time, and you lived in that world, and every single time you were just going to cross the fucking street, that Jaws thing came out and did the whole thing on you, it would suck.
Yeah, it would be like that Entertainment Weekly issue from 20 years ago that said, "My name is Earl," every time you opened it up. Very annoying.
Was that a thing?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
They put a sound chip in magazines, and it was, "My name is Earl."
How much is that worth today?
Probably a lot.
Probably nothing.
It increases in value over time because as the battery die, it becomes longer and slower every time.
My name is Earl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That dude's jacked now, so.
Jason
we
Lee's
just need
jacked?
to take a quick break to hear a word from one of our sponsors, and then we'll be back with more Ricky and Elliot teach me about NFT and I don't understand it. Today's episode of the Funhaus podcast is brought to you by Feels. Do you experience stress? Do you experience anxiety or chronic pain or trouble sleeping at least once a week? You're not alone. Many of us do, including myself. I've had a lot of anxiety, especially the past year. Have had some sleepless nights. And, I've had friends suggest to me, maybe try CBD, like this and that. I'm like, maybe. But then I found Feels and I tried it. And I'll tell you something, like I just didn't even realize how well it was working because of how well it was working. And that's part of it, right? Feels is a premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. Feels naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. It legitimately helped with all of those for me. I felt like I was able to sleep. I felt like if I woke up in the morning and I had a cup of coffee and I was feeling too anxious, I would just have some water and I would put some of the Feels, like it's like a little, I actually have it. Just take this little dropper and you just stick it like under your tongue and just drop a little bit depending on how much you kind of like want. It's easy to take. Like I said, you take this little dropper and you put a few drops underneath your tongue and you feel the difference within minutes. The thing to remember about CBD is that it's finding your right dose is important and everyone's dose is different. So leave room to experiment over the course of a week or so, and you may need to take more or less to get the effects you're after. If you're new to CBD, Feels offers a free CBD hotline to help guide your personal experience. Feels works naturally to help you feel better. There's no high, hangover, or addiction. Join the Feels community to get Feels delivered to your door every month. You'll save money on every order and you can pause or cancel anytime. Feels has me feeling my best every day and it can help you too. Become a member today by going to feels.com/dude and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/dude to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/dude. Thank you, Feels, for sponsoring this episode of the Funhaus podcast. We can also, by the way, we can move on and talk about other stuff too. It's just, this is interesting. I'm just listening. Listening, honestly, because I don't know anything about it and I find it, and you guys,
it's very confusing. And that's why it's funny because people who are like super into it and have all the answers, they walk around with this like chip on their shoulder. Like, yeah, no, I fucking get it. See, the blockchain is a verification network that, like, it's just like, okay, buddy, yeah, like, all right, we get it. You fucking bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin.
It's it's that like old tired meme about like, oh, how do you know if someone's vegan? Like they'll tell you.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you know if someone's heavily invested into cryptocurrency? Like they won't ever shut the fuck up about cryptocurrency.
When it takes that much time, I mean, you think about the energy cost, there's also a human energy side of it, is the amount of time you've had to surf Reddit and different forums and ask people questions to figure out how to understand it. So, I mean, I get it.
The real climate crisis is from all the hot air that humans are putting up in there talking about their Bitcoins.
So anyway, we're going to talk about The Bachelor or something?
No.
I was, by the way, the last time Ricky was here,
worry.
I was also here, but we still talked about The Bachelor. I've never seen an episode, so.
Yeah. You're not, this season
Yes, but
fucking,
you
it's the worst
said-
season I've ever seen.
It's so bad, right? We don't
It's
have to go into it.
horrible.
It's almost, the show's almost over. There's
Good
one
riddance
episode
this
left.
season.
Isn't one of the girls
I'm fine.
racist?
Oh God.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
and I think it
yeah.
might be the winner. I think she might be the winner. So
And then like the host had to like take a sabbatical because he like defended her. I wasn't aware of all this shit. I follow
sounds
it's
like
like
you were pretty aware. So
Well,
maybe we should have had you on a month ago.
I follow the r/subreddit drama forum on Reddit, and like they had a post a few weeks back about drama in the Bachelor subreddit, and it's like I was reading it and I was like, I don't fucking care about this, but I had no idea the Bachelor ecosystem was as like vast as it is now, where like former contestants all have like podcasts and shit, and like a lot of them like live together and like they
have houses and they have shows and podcasts and brand, everything's all about the brand deal, because like the people don't go on the show to find love, they go on to find their Instagram followers. The show, I don't know what's gonna happen. I prefer The Bachelorette, which is the opposite way, right, where that's one woman and a bunch of dudes. I don't know why, it's just more interesting.
It's because the dudes are all fucking aggro, and it's like the alpha male mentality like is right from the beginning. Everyone is just puffing their chest. It's way more entertaining. Like the women just bully each other, and it's sad.
It is sad. It's the catty women. I don't like it. The aggro men, like, bro, way better. It's just like it's just a funnier show, even though this season had a bunch of bullshit. But I'm glad that it's almost over because I'm tired of giving my energy to it.
I started watching it last night's episode, and was just like, this. Why? What am this? I hate everyone that's left on this. I do not like, and I just turned it off. Plus, we already know that
we got onto this. We managed to get into a segment about The Bachelor when it was entirely my.
Are we back to live?
Are we back?
This is part of the show.
Back.
Oh, really? Okay. No, The Bachelor sucks. It's not good this season, and I don't like anyone that's left on it. It was pretty entertaining at the beginning. I think he's a pretty boring bachelor. Plus, like he spoiled it all for himself multiple ways. One, he's not a great person. Two, he's not with anyone because he was photographed partying at the Super Bowl after parties.
Question: when you kiss your significant other, do you keep your eyes open or closed?
This guy's such a, like, I don't want to talk shit about him. I'm sure he's probably a nice guy, but like, he's so strange. He's so, like, he's the first bachelor where I felt like he didn't even enjoy like being there or any of the women he was presented with. It was just like, all right, let's, we're going to go play tag football today. And then I'm going to go to sleep.
Well, it also sucks because like they didn't go anywhere. That's half of the reason why I like to watch that kind of show is because they go places, right? Who wants to watch a show where nobody goes anywhere?
I don't know. Well, we're losing Elliot and James.
But I started to move it away, and then he started to bring it back. I was legitimately asking a question about a meme that came from the show. Okay,
Ricky and Lindsay, just start a podcast.
Just do it.
We've talked about it.
Room. He kisses with his eyes open.
Yeah.
Is that not weird?
It is.
It's
strange.
weird.
Yes.
Somebody knocking.
I don't want to see anybody.
Shut up about The Bachelor.
Kissing, not kissing. I don't want to see anybody. Okay, I just want to
stick to gaming.
Well, me and Lindsay started on the Bachelorette comes next. We'll do a podcast.
Okay, cool. We'll have you back.
Will, yeah.
We'll have you and Elliot back to discuss that when that happens.
I'll have a
I don't
drink
understand
next time.
how I was in college and there were already shows that were satirizing the dating reality show genre, like stuff like Joe Millionaire and stuff, and like
Yeah.
Flavor of
Yeah.
Love, and all these shows were essentially loose satires, but satires nonetheless of these types
Right.
of shows. And then but everyone just watched it and were like, oh, this is the show. Like, it's completely
Yeah.
whatever everyone
Yeah.
said. And now we have 35 years of just constant
And
this same
the thing
thing.
is, for me personally, I saw those kinds of parodies first. Like, I never watched The fucking Bachelor or The Bachelorette in my like late teenage years or my early 20s. But after I saw those parodies, and then like I saw clips from the actual show, and I was like, oh, the show is just actually a parody itself. Like, if you watch it, it's stupid. And
Yes.
that's what makes it enjoyable.
I
It's
had the same
stupid.
introduction. I was watching the show about the firemen with Ken Marino,
Burning Love.
and
Yeah.
So good.
Yes.
and
Same.
I like all those comedians, and they were posting clips and talking about The Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I was like, no fucking way. This has got to be a parody as well. And I watched it, and I was like, this is absurd. This is more unbelievable than the show that they made as a comedy, and that's how I got into it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Um,
Oh, well.
What's
But
the
again,
next topic?
We don't need to go on,
Yeah,
harp on
next
the ins
topic.
and outs. I don't really have any like I said, I'm loose on this podcast. Okay, we're just loose and free. Don't have any other topics. Just
You're going to hit up the trending tab so we can share our opinion
Click on that
on
trending tab.
Piers
yeah,
Morgan and John Oliver.
Yeah, what's up with I've completely, and I think I'm gonna try to like write a little bit about it in today's episode, like because it's a big thing. But
The Royals.
I don't care about what's going on. Like I thought everyone knew that the royal family was extremely fucked up already.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like if you know anything about just British history, you're like, yeah, the monarchy is an abomination. Like it is a crime against humanity that has produced far more harm than good. They're just essentially living off of British taxes so they can be mascots for the country. And I mean, if you already thought that you already had a low opinion of that, you're normal. But there's a lot of people who in the world, not even just the UK, who are extremely defensive of the royal family as an institution. And I watched a little bit of the interview. My wife watched the whole thing. I was just sort of in the room. But I mean, like Prince Harry married a African American commoner woman, and instead of marrying some like fucking translucent like inbred fifth generation like baroness or whatever, and people have speculated on it for years that did not go over well with the family, but they pretty much confirmed that in this Oprah interview. It's like, would you believe that the British royal family is a little bit racist? Oh my god!
I gotta say the royal family, they're kind of losing their edge because like. If this was 25 years ago or so, they would have just had her killed. But instead, they just put out a rumor that she bullied people.
Well, and that's the thing is, this is Diana's son, so it's like if anyone has a right to be just like completely fucking over this shit, it's him.
Yeah. It's gonna make for a great season of that Queen show, though.
I would say if I learned anything from season 4 of The Crown, it's that they didn't learn anything from season 4 of The Crown. Also, I watched that season. I watched season 1 of The Crown. I was like, this is fun. Started season 2. I was like, not really into it. And then Elise and I came back. We were like, let's watch season 4 because that was going to be the Princess Diana season. And you do watch that. I don't know. I know it's a fictional show set based on true events, but like you're watching it and you're like, they're never going to change. Like, I don't know these people personally, but I know them well enough through the lens of this show that they ain't never going to change.
They're going to kill that older guy just to get the heat off him from this interview. I'm telling you. What's his name? The guy.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
The guy. He's the Queen's husband.
Philip.
Yeah, Philip.
You're talking about Prince Philip.
The guy that asks actresses how to fix his VCR because they're in movies.
Yeah, Philip he has died so many times over just the past year.
That
like he died this past weekend.
Like the decrepit picture of him in the car.
He is the crypt keeper.
They've been keeping him alive for
112 years old.
A scandal just like this.
Yeah, he like over the weekend. they're like, oh
Listen.
yeah, Philip's definitely dead. Like he went to the hospital. The man's like 100 fucking years old. Like, nope, he's fine.
America has had many missteps, okay? But if there's one thing we did right, it's that we did not put the Queen and the royal family on our currency. We put a bunch of others, in a lot of ways, worse people.
Yeah. Separately bad, but equally bad.
Yeah. But at least all the bills are the same color.
See, the thing about our bad people is that we chose those bad people.
They
weren't imposed upon us.
Yeah, that's
people
true.
voted for Andrew Jackson, and because they liked the idea of genocide.
In some ways, it's a better indication of our ignorance and stupidity and why Bitcoin will never work.
Yeah.
It all goes back to how Bitcoin will never work. And the key flaw in the blockchain is the human element.
You need only look at the currency of nations to determine if they are ready. So, Leo, give me the nation that has, like, I don't know, Ryan Reynolds or something on their currency, like
Canada.
something that's
Canada.
like we can all agree that this is like okay, you know.
I'm convinced that when they actually make physical Dogecoins, it's going to be Elon Musk on one side doing the pose,
And then you're gonna have to
Yeah.
use it to buy a milkshake,
dog.
and you're like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Are you guys aware of the Iraqi dinars thing?
No, I am not.
It's sort of like cryptocurrency. It's just it's one of my favorite dumb conspiracy theories. It's like in the age of QAnon, it's nice to have these very niche conspiracy theories to laugh at. But for like, I guess at this point, 18 years, a small group of people in the U.S. and elsewhere have believed that eventually the United States was going to revalue the Iraqi dinar currency. And so if they bought just like truckloads of worthless Saddam Hussein money, someday a U.S. president would be like, actually, that money's worth a lot. And they would be instantly rich, even though this is like not how anything actually works.
I just searched Iraq dinar, and its current value compared to the United States dollar. So for every one Iraqi dinar, that's worth 0.00068 USD. Okay.
Right.
And also the top result when I searched for it is the Iraqi dinar investment a wise investment on Investopedia?
See, it's so worthless that the only way it can go is up, guys.
Yeah.
And the top heading, this is what I love about things, where it's like, you know, is it right? Is it wrong? Who knows? But you can always base things by the top or like one of the headings, like in Wikipedia. If I always say, like, you know,
Allegations.
Was like personal issues or something like that. You're always like, okay.
Controversy.
I always say the Walt Disney thing is like, you know, was Walt Disney anti-Semitic? You know, I wasn't there. I wasn't in the room. I don't know, but I do know that if you go to his Wikipedia page, there's an entry called anti-Semitism, yes or no or whatever. And you know, I just saw it on everyone's page. But
You've already lost when you've got that going on.
But the top heading on this Investopedia article is it a scam? Like, I feel like I don't need to read the rest, right? Because if it wasn't a scam, there probably wouldn't be a heading at the very top of the page that says, is it a scam?
It's almost certainly a scam, but what if it isn't?
But what if it isn't?
Yeah.
Anyway,
away we go.
the dinar people, that's a fun conspiracy because they've been into it for almost 20 years now. But when Donald Trump became president, they became convinced that he was the guy who was going to magically revalue the Iraqi dinar back to its original pre-2003 value, and they were going to get rich. And if you went to any of his tweets back when he still had an account under Trump, like you wouldn't have to scroll long until you found some like Iraqi dinar weirdo being
Sir.
like, "Hello, Mr. President. When do you think the Iraqi dinar revalue is going to happen?" Been holding on to these dinars for a while now.
How many would you, I guess, theoretically, I guess if you're going to blow your money on something like that, think about how many you could get for just $1, though.
Yeah.
Like, you could fill a mattress.
Yeah.
With
And the
$1.
funniest thing for me is like, I mean, back to like things, you know, value and stuff like that. Like, I would buy an Iraqi dinar just to have it because I like owning like different foreign currencies. Like, anytime I go to a different country, I try to save some of it because I like looking at it. And it would have value to me in that way. But
yeah, you collect it.
yeah. So and the Iraqi dinar probably has a lot more value as a collectible, just to like frame and put on your wall, than it'll ever have as actual currency.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey,
agree.
James, you see those
Yes.
toys behind you?
I do see the toys behind me. Yes.
Did you buy them strictly because you enjoyed them and wanted to look at them all the time? Or did you buy them with at least a slight thought in your mind, just the back of your mind floating around, that one day maybe you'd be able to sell them?
I would say most of the stuff that's in there, I probably never thought about resale value. I mean, it's Power Rangers. So the top shelf is a collection of Psychonauts toys that I bought at a PAX once, which,
Worthless.
you know, I was going to say, I mean, yeah, kind of like this is before even a sequel was announced. It was basically just a game that anytime I'd mentioned, no one had ever heard of, right? But I loved. So like, no, probably not. And then down here are like Power Rangers toys. And one of them is one that I just received as a gift that I've just held on to my whole life. And my parents are like, we're going to burn the attic to the ground if you don't start taking stuff out of it. So then I like had some stuff, went and grabbed some stuff. And the other one is when I fell in love with Power Rangers as an adult and had the money to buy stuff. But even that, I don't think. No, they more have emotional value. I don't think that I would ever even think to see what they were worth, because there's just no point. I would much rather find some like kid in the street and be like, do you want this?
Yeah, I also think it's like, there's a different type of person that's built for reselling things. Like, I have probably a few things that are like worth something, not a lot, but like the process of like listing it, shipping it, getting money for it,
selling,
and then like having someone be like, "Oh, it came ripped," but I don't know, but eBay's gonna side with me. Like, it just seems like such a hassle unless something was worth like an outrageous amount of money.
I believe all of us have a mutual friend or just acquaintance who I will call Ron Balbert, who who has a literal storage locker full of like collectibles. Like he compulsively buys this shit at cons and makes a lot of money off of like reselling them, but it's just like I could never. Every time he talks about it, I'm just like, I don't understand this shit. I
definitely have friends that do like the shoe flipping stuff, and it's like cool. But I've also been like, been over where he's having to deal with people saying that they got inauthentic stuff, and it's like, how much time are you wasting?
You have to have such a personality type.
Packing, shipping, and then dealing with like emails and correspondence and verification. And you bought the shoes for what, $150, and you sold them for $200. So you're doing all of this for $50. Like, I'm sure there's a business there if you're doing it on a mass scale. It's just like,
I'm stressed out thinking about how I'm going to have to resell my refrigerator, and it's one thing. And like, I'm stressed out about that. To be constantly doing that sounds like my absolute nightmare. You have to absolutely be that certain type of personality to be like, it's a thing. Maybe it's a brain trigger thing. It's like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then you're risking your life by someone coming and robbing you instead of just buying it off of like Craigslist. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to sell this fridge for, I don't know, $300 just to get something out of it. And then someone shows up and is like, that's my fridge, and also give me money because I'm going to stab you if you don't.
Oh my God. Now you're just going to make me leave it here. I'm not even going to mess with it. Fuck.
I think I'll come back, Lindsay, and we'll get it back out to the street or we'll get it back out to the sidewalk.
And then that way
you just have to write it off as a loss essentially. And then if you, it's definitely a personality type, because anytime I'm selling something, especially online, I always assume that I'll probably get nothing from the interaction.
Guys, it has an ice maker in it.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
Who's making ice these days?
In this economy?
Me all the time. In my water, in my Diet Coke.
Ice too cold.
Whiskey.
My fridge has an ice maker, but it froze over.
Do you have the Samsung fridge?
That was like 2 or 3 months ago. It just like froze over, and I need to thaw it. Yeah. But the thawing process takes 20 minutes and causes the fridge to beep.
Yeah. Do you have a Samsung fridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a class action lawsuit related to that.
Perfect.
Because it's every single Samsung fridge, the ice maker freezes over. So that's what I have, and I'm like, well, I'll just never use the ice maker. Like, I'll literally, if I was gonna have like friends over, I'd go buy ice.
I have
Absolutely
one.
not. Absolutely not.
Just for the ice maker.
I'll give you $5 for it and try and stab you.
Wait, hang on.
My friend has.
ripped off.
I have a friend who has in his garage. He has one of those restaurant ice makers with the scoop.
Ooh.
He loves ice.
I'm thinking of investing in something small like that, like a countertop one. Once I get rid of this one,
because I
love
they have at
my
hotels.
cup full of ice.
Mm-hmm. The big one
Put
that
that
you
in
like
my
flip open
bathroom.
the thing. Yeah.
It
In my
doubles as a
second
heater.
sounds
bathroom, just
perfect.
keep it in the bathtub.
Yeah.
You get buckets. That's
Mhm.
great. It sounds wonderful. How did
I
we
mean,
get
you
here?
need something like that if you're like a professional athlete who needs to take ice baths all the time. Like, where do they get all that ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also need a tub.
Yes.
Yeah, too.
So NFTs they're non-fungible tokens, which means they can't be funged.
Okay. They can't be
Can't
be
funged. Like
funged.
things
No
that
funging.
can. What's an example of something that can be funged?
The U.S. dollar,
The US dollar.
Is that
the Iraqi
true?
dinar.
So the way it's
Me
explained
on a
is
Friday
that
night.
if you have
I
$20
don't
and you give someone, if someone gives you $20 and you're like, oh, thanks, I'll
Mhm.
give it back to you tomorrow, and you give them $20 back tomorrow, but that's a different $20 bill, it still is the exact same value.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
doesn't change value, so it's fungible.
One of them might have
Okay.
Harriet Tubman on them, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can
All
only
right.
hope.
Okay.
Or if you
God
hand someone a
willing.
20 and then they send you $20 on Venmo,
Uh-huh.
it's the same value.
Yeah.
It's fungible.
So, okay. So non-fungible.
Are we all
would
on the
be-
same page here now, finally?
I was until that very last. I was there until this very last metaphor. Now I don't get it again.
Look,
Yeah, you
It's-
can buy an NFT of Azalea Banks fucking her boyfriend.
Yes.
See, like, but does she
Well-
get compensated for that?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
Does
believe
she?
so.
Is she? Then she's not the artist.
I'll
She
just
gets
say
royalties.
She is the artist. She's the one selling it.
at its
Oh,
core,
she is.
Yeah.
Okay, then great, perfect.
At its core,
This sale is for the full rights and sole access to the first audio sex tape to be minted on the blockchain. Recorded in February 2021 by Azalea Banks and her boyfriend, Ryder Rips. This sound-based artwork is sure to titillate for its full 24 minutes and 22-second duration. Upon purchase, a WAV file will be delivered to the buyer in addition to a one-of-one signed LP vinyl record.
is it the vinyl of her fucking?
I guess.
Damn,
Don't miss
that's
out on
cool.
this
I
historic
would
and
get the vinyl
sexy
sounds
event.
fun.
Yeah.
I don't care about the NFT. I like the vinyl.
Yeah,
they
you
should
get-
just do
yeah.
that. Just have Draft House release it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into vinyl.
Me and Elliot have talked about doing like an episode of Weekly Weird News as a release on vinyl.
Mm-hmm. You should. I think that's
Yeah.
cool.
It's
And you should-
it's
but
really
you should-
expensive to produce for a joke.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
You-
bad now after talking about the extreme like just waste of resources that goes into cryptocurrency. Talking about getting a fucking vinyl record that no one will ever actually listen to made.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when people have their ashes pressed into a vinyl record,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, it's a collectible.
It's a collectible,
And it'll be
but
worth
the energy
more
that it
later.
requires, and also if it were me, mine would be I love the singer in the moon in the June and the spring. I love that. I'd pick the worst, most
Yeah.
infuriating song to make my eternity be.
That's what James would have wanted.
Every time I
Well,
listen.
NFTs are the cyberpunk art of the future for
Great.
a lot of people. You
Okay.
can print out a Mondo poster, or you could
Mhm.
have the actual one. A lot of people
Or you
would
could
think
go
that
to
having-
mondo.com and buy
Yeah.
the real one. Yeah.
So yes, it is a very like futurist cyberpunk kind of cool thing.
Mhm.
There's good about it. There's certainly bad about it. But realistically, 90% of people aren't going to participate in it because, at least right now, because of how inefficient and everything it is, and how much the spec is through the roof, speculation of values through the roof, it's completely unaffordable to 90% of people. So it's like, if you're worried about what we're saying about NFTs or whatever, look, you either have a bunch of them and you're very wealthy, or you have none and you're upset that you can't buy one because they're expensive. So just instead, don't worry about it.
I'm
Final
not worried
verdict,
about
Lindsay.
it.
Lindsay,
But-
are you
But,
down with NFTs? Final verdict.
Yeah, you know me.
No, I don't give
Oh.
a fuck. I just wanted to hear what they had to say about it. I really appreciated the opportunity to learn about it. And I'm grateful for why is it on me? I don't want to see me. Show me them. I'm
Keep it
done
on.
seeing me. I want
keep
to
it there.
thank them. Oh my God. Okay, well, thank you, Ricky and Elliot, for coming on and just stop. Giving me a complex. For coming on and talking to us about it today. I really didn't know what any of it's about. So thank you so much. Where can people find you on the internet?
Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/internettodaytv.
Or just search
our-
Internet Today in the search bar. It's easier.
Yeah. Our Twitter account, which is like weirdly kind of shadow banned. I don't know. If you start typing Internet Today, there's like 3 other results that show up on Twitter before our actual account on the list. But our Twitter account is Internet Today TV, and my personal Twitter account is Elliot ETC, ELIOT ETC.
And Ricky.
At Ricky FTW. But go subscribe to our YouTube channel because that's all that matters. You'll find the rest just by going there.
Their videos are good. I already said it in the last podcast. I watch your guys' videos. Thank you again so much for coming and hanging out with us, chit-chatting about, the Bachelor. Sorry we made you listen to about The Bachelor, but
Oh, no,
I'm
this
telling
is
you,
just
you
this is
guys
all
need to start a podcast.
he got engaged
is
to
all-
a racist.
this is all marketing for me and Lindsay's future Bachelor podcast.
Spin-off.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out the name. That's the
And-
first step. It's like you can't play music until you have the band name. Like,
Yeah.
there you go.
Exactly.
Don't
And
know if that's true,
James, thank you as always for hanging out today.
No, of course.
And
Happy
thanks
to
to
be
our
here.
TD Cody, who's always holding it down for us. Okay, that's it for us. What's up next? Is there anything else today? I have notes at 3:30 live on the Rooster Teeth website, so hang out if you want to check that out. And we'll be back with live stream gaming tomorrow, Wednesday at 2:45 p.m. Pacific. So come hang out with us again then.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, and thanks. Have a good day.